Hello, everyone. Raymond Moore, Kilted Prepper. How's everybody doing? Couple minutes late here, so I apologize about that. I wanted to make a bunch of notes and everything for tonight's talk. Uh, this one is going to be super interesting, and you know, I hate to say it, but also kind of on the scary side about what's coming down the pipe. Just what's in this the rain remaining of this year alone, 2023, and then also some of the things that are maybe overlap into 2024 and such. But very very interesting talk this evening. If you know any other people, preppers or anything, get on your messages or text them and everything and tell them to tune in right now, because this is going to be an incredible evening with some incredible information. And I've got a lot to share with you. But first, I just want to thank everybody for coming on in. If you're new, do me a favor and like, subscribe, and share, and then ring that little bell so you get notified whenever we post new videos and also go live. And then also, I just want to thank all of our community members who show up every week and watch our wonderful show and everything. Do me a favor, if you are seeing this right now, let me know that if you can hear me. At times, YouTube doesn't like to turn on my volume, or I forget something or something like that. But do me a favor, comment below, let me know that you're hearing me a-okay, and it's all 5x5 there. So bad news. And do me a favor, please. Miss Cynthia is not going to join us tonight. That's why I'm a tad late. She picked up a flower pot that she shouldn't have picked up. It was quite heavy for her, and she hurt her back rather bad. So I've got her in bed. I've got her on a heating pad and everything like that, giving her some meds and everything. Hey, Holly, how you doing? Thank you for joining. And so Cynthia is not joining us tonight, so it's just going to be me. So but she's in bed right now, and so please keep her in her prayers. Her back is really hurting badly. She wrenched it really bad picking up a pot, and she's not feeling good at all. So got her on heating pad, give her some ibuprofen, and you know so she's relaxing and everything. But I just want to covet your prayers for her, and hopefully she feels better either later on tonight or tomorrow or something like that. But she wrenched it pretty bad, and so she is not joining us tonight. So it's just me, Kilter Prepper. There's no Ann Cynthia. But again, I just want to welcome you guys, give you guys some folks, folks, some time to come on into the room and everything. And this one, I may go over the 1 hour limit that we kind of put on ourselves, because I am throwing a boatload of information at you. And so, but let's see here. You know, and then another thing too is that tonight's show is going to be kind of dramatic. And so this is not fear mongering. This is reality. And folks need to wake up and really understand what is coming down the pipe. Oh, thank you so much, Holly. Hey, Paddle. Again, Paladin, yeah, Cynthia's not joining us tonight. She hurt her back. And so she's picking up a flower pot, wrenched it really bad. I've got her in bed and everything. So it's just me tonight, Paladin. But so, which isn't, we'll just keep charging forward and everything. She had a whole bunch of great information that she was going to share tonight, and I kind of had to adapt my slides and add some slides and everything. So I was a tad late coming into the room, so because I wanted to add more information. But she's got a boatload of information she wants to share next week, so we're going to kind of do a part 2, aka Cynthia's views. And so tonight you're going to be watching my views and seeing what I see in the crystal ball and what I see coming down the pipeline and everything. So, but interestingly enough, again, this is not for fear mongering, and I'm presenting tonight some very realistic things. And folks, the U.S. is going to get shaken, and we as preppers need to heed what's going on. Start acting now because things are going to get really tough and really ugly, and we're going to be living through that for a while. Hold on, stop it, you guys, calm down. I don't have Cynthia here to put the dogs away. And so my little ones are over there wrestling and being, cantankerous. So, but we as preppers just need to really understand what's coming down the pipe. That's one of the things that gives us an edge and gives us more odds in our favor, so that we can adapt, overcome, adjust to what needs to be done, and everything. And but the thing that I'm running into, and this is, I have to say, this is troubling to me because in talking to a lot of preppers out there and stuff, we need to be able to really get our minds into a new place, new position, and understand what is coming on. I want to recommend a book here, and what I will do is I'll put a link down below or something. But this book, you can see how big it is. This is about a 45-minute read. It costs about $12 on Amazon. And if you have not read this book, I think it's critical in these days and times, especially with the summer coming on, that you read this book. And a quick synopsis of this book is it's about, these four characters who are living in a maze. And what they're doing is they're constantly running around looking for piles of cheese. And they have two mice and two little guys. The two mice just instinctively know and understand what to do. They start seeing cheese starting to run out. They instantly run out into the maze trying to find more cheese. The other two little guys, and these are little guys, one is, very, very looking at, oh, wow, we got a mountain of cheese. We can continue to hang out here for the rest of our lives and everything. Life is wonderful. Life is grand. And then the other guy is just very stubborn. I'm never going to leave. This is my mountain of cheese and it'll feed me forever. And what they start to realize is that they say someone moved their cheese, but what is happening is that they're basically eating their cheese themselves. They're starting to see their cheese start to diminish and everything. And one person says, nope, it's going to go on forever. My cheese is going to last forever. It's never going to change. It's all going to be rainbows and unicorns and everything. And the other little guy says, you know what? Maybe we need to start getting out in the maze and looking for new cheese. And so the one little guy starts running around, starts trying to find piles of cheese. He finds great piles of cheese, goes back to the other room to tell the other guy and everything, hey, I found more cheese. The other guy is stubborn. He doesn't want to. No, I'm not going to move. I've got my cheese here, and everything. All the while, their cheese pile is diminishing. And so the other guy finally says, you know what? The heck with you. I'm going to go on, get out in there into the maze and everything. I'm going to find new cheese, bigger piles of cheese and everything. And he actually does. He finds better things, better cheese, and, more opportunity, I guess, if you would say, when it comes to cheese. He goes back and continues to tell this guy, hey, I found more cheese, everything like that. And the other guy is just too stubborn. He's stuck in his ways. He's not going to move. And finally, the guy gives up on him. And eventually, the other guy diminishes and passes on because he did not move and take action when he should have, where the other little guy did take action, changed his mindset, and said, I'm finding new cheese. And then he also then recognized when his cheese pile at the new location was, dwindling down, he had to get out and find more cheese. Well, this is the problem that I'm running into. A lot of people out there are stuck in their ways. This is called normalcy biased. And normalcy biased is not good. Normalcy bias traps you. Normalcy bias tends to make you think that everything is a-okay, nothing's going to happen. We're just going to go on with rainbows and unicorns, and life is going to be grand until they hit that point where, well, the cheese is no longer there. And then all of a sudden they start blaming anybody and everybody. And instead of getting out and doing something about it, they still hang out and thinking that their cheese is going to magically reappear and things are going to get better and all that other stuff, where in reality it doesn't, and they diminish and die. And so I'm seeing this attitude even in preppers. And this is, I mean, it troubles me greatly that I'm seeing all this. And we really first need to really lock into our mindset that things are going to change here and change very quickly over the summertime. And again, a lot of the things I'm going to be presenting to you tonight is going to be from now till about the end of the year. And so things are getting pretty hairy out there. And even though we know these things are coming, I'm not seeing anybody preparing for it. Or people think that, oh, hey, I'm prepared for it and we can hang. And I think that a lot of people are going to be rather surprised and to the point where, are they going to, basically get out there and try to find more cheese, or are they going to stick to their guns and keep with it? And like it or not, I think there's a lot of people out there that are stuck in their normalcy biased. And because they are stuck in their normalcy biased, when change does finally happen, and I think when change does happen, change is going to happen rather quickly. And because it is going to happen rather quickly, because they don't have a plan B in place or even put any plans in place, then basically they are going to adapt to the mob, adapt to chaos, adapt to the herd mentality, and are going to constantly be running around fighting in parking lots and grabbing this and doing that and everything like that. I don't know about you guys, but I don't plan to be there. I don't plan to be in the chaos. I don't plan on running with the herds and everything. I'm seeing the writing on the wall. Me, myself, and our family are getting out there, and we are looking for new cheese, new opportunities, and new things to fulfill our needs when other needs are going to dry up basically overnight. So, several things that I want to talk to you. So, the first one is the debt ceiling. Now, we're all hearing about this and everything like that. And the issue is with the debt ceiling. Today is May 27th. June 1st, we run out of money. And here's the thing. I've seen a couple congressmen come out and say, folks, people don't realize how long it takes a bill or a law or paperwork to pass through Congress, pass through Senate, and land on the president's desk to sign. It takes about 10 to 15 days, more like 15 days, if not more, for that process to happen. And so if we default, let's just say, our parties come together and president and Congress say, yeah, we've got a deal and everything. It's still going to take 10 to 15 days to go through House, Senate, and land on the president's desk. And so today is the 27th. And that's 4 days from now is June 1st. That means that we will default. And so, even then, Janet Yellen has come out and said she doubts that we could still pay all our bills by June 15th. So, folks, we're running out of time. And she's even come out saying June 1st is actually the date that we need to pay our bills. And, again, it's going to take time for this stuff to go through the House, even if they rush it and everything. It's going to take time for these things to happen. So by default, we are going to default. And so, even though we put it out on the news, hey, we came to a great agreement and this, that, and the other and everything, until it goes through the House and Senate. And folks, even going through House and Senate, there may be some hiccups in there. Just because McCarthy and Biden come together on some deals doesn't mean some congressmen or some senators are going to say, nope, you know what? I'm not going to sign that. I'm not going to approve it and everything. There are hiccups. And so, will we even make that June 15th date and everything? I have no idea. And so, Yellen doubts U.S. could still pay all its bills by June 15th. And so this is something that we really need to look at. Now, what's going to be the repercussions of that? Repercussions is that Moody's has come right out and said that if we default, which is probably going to happen on June 1st, is that our credit rating, which the US, and just so you guys know, Moody's are the ones who rate countries, states, cities, governments, everything like that. They're the creditors. They're the ones who say, oh, you have good credit and you have bad credit and everything. Moody has come out and said that right now, the United States has AAA credit, which is really good. But if we do, default and everything, we will be looking at AA #1 credit. So we went from really good to really fair. What happens, and I don't know about you guys, but do you guys pay attention to your credit reports and everything like that? What's your credit rating and everything? What happens if your credit rating dumps a good 50 to 70 points? That's kind of the equivalent of what Moody's will do is if we dump it. And so, will this happen or not? I don't know. But Moody's is coming out and saying that, you know, they could take action, and so we're looking at a possible, bad credit rating. So what does all this bad credit rating means? It means that it will cost more for the US to get loans. And, again, this whole global loan banking and everything like that, it's going to cost us, the US, more to get loans. What that means to you and me is that the trickle down effect will eventually come in probably 3 to 6 months, and we will be paying much higher prices because anything that we buy, it's just not bought on dollars. It's bought on credit and it's bought on borrowed money. And so a lot of these, corporations and stores and so forth, just don't hand over the MasterCard and say, hey, charge it. They have to acquire loans. They have to do it. And so if all those things happen, then we're going to see those companies and everything have to pay even higher prices for their loans because the U.S. defaulted. And what do? They pass the cost on to us, the average American citizen. And so that's issue number one. We are going to be looking at higher prices. And I'm not even talking about inflation or anything like that. I'm just talking about what happened because we lost a credit rating. And even then, when we do have that debt, that debt ceiling agreement, which is will going to happen, I just don't know when. It doesn't mean that they're going to instantly, raise the credit rating again. We may sit at a AA1 for a couple months and everything, which will again cause a lot of ripple effects in the financial world, which will eventually come down to us, Joe, me and you and Joe Bob, and basically cause us to pay even higher prices on things. So that's issue number one that we're looking at here at this year. So hold on one moment. Let me see who's talking here. Hey, Paddling, we see Patty Irwin. Hey, Patty. We see Trance Now. We see Holly. We see Joan. So, hey, everybody. Good to see you here in the room. So, issue number one was the debt ceiling. It's going to be happening here in the next 4 days. I don't have much faith that they're going to come together. I mean, they may at midnight, June 30th or June 31st. I forget how many days are in the month of June. And hey, Heather, how you doing? Good to see you. So I don't know, but even then, it's still going to take 10 to 15 days for everything to pass through House and Senate and Congress and all that other junk. And again, we don't know if there's going to be congressmen or senators who are going to want to slow the process down. So no matter what, I think our nation will default by default, and then it's going to cost the American people dearly. So that's happening here in June. What is happening here in August? In August this year, BRICS will be holding their meeting, and odds are very good that they're going to be bringing in 23 new countries. Now, if they do that, the new candidate countries for BRICS expansion, if accepted, the new proposal, BRICS members would create an entity of a GDP of 30% larger than the United States, over 50% of the global population, and control of over 60% of the oil reserves, or they're calling it gas reserves. But that is huge, folks. I mean, that is pretty massive. So if accepted, that's all the things that are going to happen. Now, on the other side, and I just want to look at these things, it's primarily we want to focus on the GDP. But the GDP, if our GDP, folks, in America is not very good. And in fact, gross domestic product increased an annual rate of 1.3% in the first quarter of 2023. I have to say, big whoop-de-doo. And there's a but in the fourth quarter of 2022, real GDP increased 2.6%. Big whoop-de-doo. I mean, that's nothing. And GDP, gross domestic product, that is what our baseline, what we are actually producing, 1.3% over baseline. And then also in the last quarter or fourth quarter of 2022, we increased GDP 2.6% over baseline. Big whoop-de-doo. And so these are not good. Again, BRICS is in the position to, again, their GDP, when they sign these treaties and they accept these new countries and everything in, is going to be 30% larger than the United States with a 50% global population. And so these are huge. Just think of this. How many countries are neutral to the US? How many countries out there kind of dislike the US? And then how many countries out there just out and out hate the US? A lot of these countries are joining BRICS. So how many of these countries do you think will want to start doing business with us once they join BRICS? Think on that one for a second. But that is not all. Issue number 3. BRICS is talking about creating a new currency. And the BRICS currency could shake up the dollar's dominance, And folks, this is a biggie because what could literally change is how the average American family purchases today. And I want to read this to you here. I want to read this. So actually, do I have a slide for that? No, I don't. But let me read this to you. Because each member of BRICS grouping is an economic heavyweight in their own region, countries around the world would likely be willing to do business in the BRIC, meaning the BRIC currency. If Thailand felt compelled to use the BRIC to do business with China, Brazil's importers could still purchase shrimp from Thailand exporters, keeping Thailand shrimp on Brazil's menus, all because everyone is now using the BRIC instead of the dollar. Goods produced in one country can also circumvent trade restrictions between two other countries by exporting to the other countries and re-importing from other countries, again, using BRICS. It's what we're kind of like seeing right now with Russian oil. Russian oil is being sold to India. India is then selling the oil to China and other countries and everything. So a lot of these trade restrictions, everything on Russian oil is being circumvented because all the oil is flowing through India. They're selling to India. India is buying it. India's then reselling it to other countries and so forth and so on. So those sanctions are working, but not too much. But it means if the United States boycotted bilateral trade with China rather than trade in the BRIC, its children can continue to play with Chinese-made toys, that became exports of the countries like Vietnam, and then export it to then the United States. So the big thing is, in other words, we could literally be locked out of international trade and forced to use BRIC over the US dollar. And countries can insist that we use BRIC over the US dollars. Countries could change, charge higher prices through trade tariffs and everything if the US did not trade in BRIC. So if a country wants to trade with us and everything and say, well, we want to pay in dollars. Well, the country is going, well, you know what? I don't want dollars. I want brick. And so, if you want to buy in dollars, we trade in dollars. Yeah, I'll trade in dollars, but I'm going to charge you a lot higher price because we don't want to do business in dollars. We want to do business in brick. And so there's a lot of leverage. And so the big issue is the moment that we use brick, we lose being the global reserve of the world. And then brick then becomes the de facto global reserve of the world. Now, being the global reserve comes with a lot of perks and privileges. And when we lose that global reserve, we lose all those perks and privileges. We basically fall by the wayside like the UK has. And if you're really into global economics and everything and keep an eye on those sort of things, you'll understand that the UK is not doing too good right now. So, in fact, the UK is pretty much in a horrible recession, and things are getting kind of crazy over there financially. And so we need to maintain the dollar as a global reserve. But if BRICS does what they say they're going to do and create a global currency, then, things are going to look rather bad. And so, and then here's something else, consumer goods. Here's issue number 4. And again, this all comes from this whole BRICS China thing that's really brewing right now. 52% of U.S. consumer goods comes from China. So in 2021, U.S. imports 60.84 million in miscellaneous manufactured items from China, constituting 53.2% of total U.S. ports of those commodities. That means a lot of what we're buying is made in China. You know that, I know that. And if you see that these BRICS nations are coming together, and if you see that they're, creating a currency and everything like that, what they're talking about, then, that's not going to dull well for, me, you, and the average Joe citizen. Because if BRICS, comes together with all that stuff, we are going to be paying a lot higher prices. In fact, if BRICS comes together, gains 23 new countries, has a GDP of 30% higher than US, controls 60% of the global oil, and also creates a new currency, where will that put the US? And the big question is where will it put us personally? When we really look at things that you purchase in your home, how much of it is made in China? I mean, look at these things realistically. What do you buy? What are you using? What are you doing? And everything. How many goods are in? How many goods do you have in your home that comes from China? And I mean, primarily, I would say probably a lot of your electronics and such are at least assembled or somewhat made or partially made or something, or the resources or something come from China and everything. So looking at the average home, I would have to say that maybe 75 to 80% of the goods that we use in our home today or have in our home are probably Chinese made or Chinese resourced. What happens if all that stuff, basically dries up? Here's an interesting one. In America, estimates say that Chinese suppliers make up to 70 to 80% of Walmart's merchandise, leaving less than 20% for American-made products. Now, if you remember and everything, Walmart was on a big old, campaign spree. Oh, we're going to spend, X amount for American-made stuff and all that other things. And, but 70-80% of that is, made in China. But here's the interesting thing is that if Walmart continues to grow at the same rate, in 2023, the company will spend just 3.2% on American-made goods. That means what 97% of what's filling the shelves of Walmart is going to be Chinese made. Now, just because, the US may not want to use brick, what happens if Walmart decides to, what, we're going to use brick? So they're out for it, They're in the business of making money and everything. And, a way a lot of these mega corporations are today, and Walmart being one of these mega corporations, they really don't care about you and me and others and everything. They're a global organization. So any basic global organization, just wants to make money. And so I see Walmart bowing down and basically saying, yeah, we're going to use brick. And so we're going to be using brick to buy stuff and everything. And so when they buy stuff in brick, do you think they're going to get the same deals that they're going to get right now that they're making with the dollar? I don't see it, folks. And so, I think that the brick, if it does come about and it becomes a more global reserve and everything, I think it's going to outweigh the dollar. And if that happens, then it's going to cost the American families more to purchase these things than what they are now, because they're going to be bought in brick. And there's a whole conversion from brick to the dollar and so forth. And so we're going to be looking at basically everything at Walmart. I don't want to say Target. I don't shop Target, but in a lot of these big box stores, prices are going to go up even more. And this isn't even accounting for inflation or any of the other bad news that I'm sharing with you tonight, folks. This is just, if the brick gains control. And so, it's a pretty, pretty interesting situation. And so what I find interesting that, I see all these people screaming about buying Chinese and yet they're still doing it. All right, you're this sort of very patriotic, oh, well, stop buying China. Well, folks, get off your duff and start doing it. I mean, this is something that Cynthia and I are doing. We're actively not buying Chinese if we can truly help it. So, and again, I understand in this world it's hard to escape it, especially when 52% of the goods that we purchase in the U.S. are Chinese made or have Chinese components or Chinese stuff in it and everything. But this is something that we are taking very hard and very true to our hearts, so that we do not contribute to China. I mean, folks, I'm going to be very honest with you, man. China's the enemy. And so why are we sending money to the enemy? Why are we funding the enemy? We need to get our heads straight, and we need to start really, buying American, buying U.S. made, and making a concerted effort whenever we are able to do it, then to do it. And so these are things that Cynthia and I are now implementing in our home. And so issue number 5. And this is a rather interesting one. Janet Yellen. Janet Yellen told bank CEOs more mergers may be necessary, sources say. Now, what does that mean? Folks, bank mergers is code word for, or doublespeak for, bank failures. And the number being tossed around out there right now, this is going to take place probably in the fall. I should have mentioned that earlier. But we're looking at about 270 bank mergers or bank failures taking place in and around the fall time frame. And in fact, here's an interesting chart I want to share with you. Back in 2008, 2007, when we had that great recession and everything, we had 24 banks close with the cost of $94 million. Just this year alone, we have only had 3 banks, three banks fail at the cost of, $500 billion roughly. And so, or 550 billion. So 2008, 94 billion, or, and then 3 banks, 500 billion. And so what we're looking at here, folks, if we just had 3 banks fail this year, costing roughly 550 billion, and they're looking at 270 more banks failing, what is that going to do to the economy? I mean, what's that going to do to the stock market and all this other stuff? And in fact, here's a really interesting chart that I found. And let me actually blow this one up here for you so you can totally see it. On the very far right, you see a green line going straight up, 20, 22, 23. That is the 3 banks that failed this year alone. Now you can see from 2007 to about, 2010, 2012, we've lost a lot of banks, but it was 2010, 2008 that we had the Great Recession and we had, a number of banks failed. From 2001 to 2023, we've had 564 banks fail. And if you look all the way back over to 2001, I mean, the line's really small. The 2008 to 2012 time period, we had, 157 banks fail. Shoot on over to 2022 or 2022, 2023 this year, and we've only had 3 banks fail. Folks, what is going to happen this fall, and again, that's what's projected, is this fall, merging or failing 270 banks. How high is this green line going to be then? Imagine how high is that? I mean, they're going to have to draw a whole new chart just to fit that green line. And then what is that going to do to the economy? I mean, it's going to seriously, start sucking really bad. Now, the fourth thing, that was issue number 5. The sixth thing is fertilizer. And I've run out of slides and everything. I only get 10 slides, so you're going to have to just go with me on this one. But global fertilizer, folks, we are running out of fertilizer globally. And it's because the big R and the big U are duking it out. They produce, a good 40-50% of the potash needed to create fertilizer globally. Now, the lucky thing is that in America here, we are very self-sustaining. We are able to create our own fertilizer. We do not have a potash problem. In fact, our trade partner with Canada is where we get most of our potash. But the other than nitrogen and phosphorus, we get on our own here in the United States. So we are very good. We are very independent. And so we are able to produce our own fuel. We are able to produce our own fertilizer. We are able to produce our own seed, so forth and so on. The problem is, and this is going to go along with some other issues down the road that I'll use for another video. But in fact, if you read my massive global famine coming, go read that and kind of give you an idea of what's coming down the pipe with that one. But because we are self-sufficient in the fertilizer, seed, fuel, and other things of growing our own food, we don't import any of our food. We export a boatload of it. Same thing with our fertilizer. And so when the rest of the world is running out of fertilizer, which is happening right now, then, because of the big R, big U, duking it out down there in the middle of Europe, then the rest of the world is not going to be able to grow crops because they don't have fertilizer. They don't have fuel. They don't have seed and everything. This is where they get a lot of their stuff, is from Belarus, Russia, and Ukraine. And so if these guys are all duking it out and everything, a lot of countries are not going to be able to produce this. So since we produce a lot of our own, where do you think they're going to show up? What doorstep are they going to end up on? They are going to end up on our doorstep. And the thing is, even though we produce a lot and have a lot and everything, it's going to drive the price up because the one with the most money is who's going to get the fertilizer. And so countries are going to be, sticking out wads of cash to buy fertilizer and everything. So how does the U.S. farmer, or even how do you and I compete with that? We are now all of a sudden going to have to start competing, almost on a global scale against all these other countries to buy our fertilizer and everything. And so what is that going to cause? And again, cause and effect. It's going to, it's a supply and demand sort of issue. And we are going to see the prices of fertilizer just escalate here in the U.S. And so that's another issue that I see happening. And then issue number 7 is because we don't have the fertilizer and it's going out to all these countries. And this is happening right now, folks. This started happening in March. We started losing or started selling off a lot of our fertilizer and everything to other countries so that they can at least try to grow their own food. And because of all that, our farmers here in the U.S. are not being able to produce as much. Now, whammy that with droughts and weather and snow and rain and all that other things. In fact, right now, Kansas is having a massive drought. Kansas grows a lot of wheat and corn and other grains. Guess what's not happening in Kansas? so they're not growing or anything. This year, the weather people have already said, hey, this is going to be a mega El Nino year. And so in some parts of the US, like we're seeing in Kansas right now, we're going to start seeing massive droughts. Other parts of the US, like the Ohio Valley, Appalachia area, and so forth, are going to be seeing a lot of rain. You know, a lot of dryness or a lot of rain is not good for crops. And so, what's going to happen this year, on top of all the high prices of fertilizer and seed and everything else, we are not going to be producing that much food this year. Last year, we produced enough food. Our overflow took us to March. Historically, our food overflow from what we produced the year prior usually takes us all the way to June and July. Last year, because of poor production and everything, it only took us to March. And so now we are out of food reserves here in the US. So what we're growing right now is what we have. And so if we are not able to produce as much and everything, I mean, you thought Thanksgiving turkey was bad last year, the cost and everything like that. It's going to be horrendous this year. And so now, because of all that, what carryover do we have for 2024? We're not looking very good. And so the cost of food, folks, is going to go up hugely. And so this is all the bad news that I've got. These are the things that I see in my crystal ball and everything. And again, I'm not trying to fearmonger here. I'm just trying to give you the reality. And so we're seeing a lot of stuff take place. And my biggest thing, and this is what I've been pushing here recently, been reading my articles or watching some of my videos and everything, is now is the time to start creating your own personal supply chains and stop depending on cheap Chinese junk, stop depending on these other things, and start creating supply chains. Things that we need to do is we need to start growing our own gardens. I highly encourage you, start growing up gardens. Rip out that freaking grass that you got growing in your backyard that's doing nothing but looking pretty, and grow a garden, because it's going to take you a couple years just to get used to how to grow a garden. And folks, what we need to understand is a lot of these things are somewhat long term. They're not just going to disappear because we elect a new president or anything. We're going to feel the ripples of these effects for, the next probably 2 to 3 years. And so the more supply chain you have in your basket, the better. So by growing a garden now, even if you're a new gardener, start growing now, because you're going to learn a lot of the do's and don'ts and trials and mistakes of growing a garden. So rip up your freaking backyard and grow a garden. And so that's one. Learn to hunt. Start, if you don't own a gun or anything, go out, get a shotgun or something, and learn to hunt, and start watching YouTube videos on how to clean animals and everything, how to process them, put them in the freezer and things like that. Other things is learn to fish. Go down to, Bob's Sporting Goods and get an inexpensive fishing package, for $25, and start learning to fish so you can put protein on the table. And then finally is start learning to forage. What grows around in your area that you can eat. I just actually, I've been in contact with Samuel Thayer. Samuel Thayer is probably the guru of foraging and everything. So I've been, trying to get in contact with him, and I'm going to try to get him on the show. But Samuel Thayer is the guy. And so if you're looking on books on how to forage and everything, Samuel Thayer is the man. Look them up on Amazon. What I can do is put some links below and everything on how to start learning how to forage. But these are critical issues that you need to do now to get yourself going. Other things that you need to do: start buying local and start shopping the farmers markets. Start reaching out. Now here we have a Mennonite community, and Mennonites are really great. They're into barter and trade and all this other stuff. And so we have Mennonites around us. I shop at a Mennonite store, and I get good deals on everything. And so they're very open to that. find farmers in your area, find backyard gardeners, find all these other people, shop your local, farmers market. Every city has a farmers market, believe it or not. You just got to find it. Sometimes they're advertised, sometimes they're not. But start, finding these food sources. So for what you're not able to grow or acquire, then at least maybe you're able to go to the farmers market, or you have somebody else that you're going to be able to barter trade and so forth. And then finally, we need to start buying local. And again, start supporting Bob's Garage and go do your oil changes there. Start, getting furniture from Joe down the street who builds furniture and everything. A really good app that I have on my phone is called Public Square. And you can go to I think it's publicsquare.com or something like that, but get it on your phone. You can get on the website, check it out as well. But Public Square, what it is about is all buying US made, buying local. And more stores, more and more companies and businesses are joining Public Square because these are American made, American owned companies. We need to start supporting the small guy. We need to start supporting the family owned businesses. We need to start supporting American made, because folks, if and when crap hits the fan and bricks goes into gear and China goes into gear and everything like that, you ain't going to get any more cheap Chinese junk anymore. That is the fact. And so if you do not have these things in place, and with just-in-time inventory, and for some of you who don't know what just-in-time inventory is if you think they've run out of something on the shelf at Walmart and they can go out in the back and get it, it ain't there. What they do is once all those things are bought up, the computer says all these things are now gone, zap it off to the warehouse out in Timbuktu. They throw it on a truck, and the truck brings it 2-3 days later, and then they restock the shelf. That's called just-in-time inventory. So Walmart, all these stores, all these mega stores, big box stores and everything, they don't have the inventory sitting around in the back because space costs money. And so what they've now gone to is just-in-time inventory. And the moment the U.S. puts sanctions on China, which is probably coming here very soon, I don't know if you saw my article about the DOD, or you saw Southern Preppers video or Alaskan Preppers video on the DOD pulling Chinese-made goods and anything made with Chinese materials. The DOD is already doing this in commissaries and PXs. They are going and everything. But check out my article. I go into more depth and detail on that. But with the DOD happening, what's happening also is companies are self-sanctioning as well. They are refusing just to do business with China, period. And again, your home, my home, well, my home, we're working on it. But odds are your home is probably 75% Chinese made or Chinese materials and everything. And if that stuff disappears overnight, which it probably could happen. Remember those toilet paper wars you saw in the aisles? Imagine going to Walmart and now it's a battle fest for basically anything that is not in the grocery section. And that's the way things are going to be. Imagine getting mugged in the parking lot because someone wants your toilet paper, toilet bowl cleaner in your shampoo. And so these are the realities. And so the thing is that Cynthia and I has been working very hard at reading the writing on the wall and doing something about it. And so these are some of the tips that we are doing. We are, putting in a big garden. We are shopping at farmers markets and learning to barter and trade or buy from other farmers and stuff like that. We're working hard at buying local. We're looking at Public Square, that app. Again, get that app, folks. Support local community businesses and everything. And then we've also discovered an online shopping club, which I'm going to be very frank with you, as an influencer, and because they really work on word of mouth, I cannot say the name, and that's just the way it is. But if you want to come talk to me and everything, in fact, I got a link down below in the description. Hit that link, fill out my little form, know that way I know that you're interested in everything, and I'll contact you. Now, if you do fill out that little form, keep an eye for my email. I'm going to also maybe text you, when you put your phone number in and everything, so you know that it's there. But I'm going to send you an email, tell you who the company is and what we're doing and everything like that. But we get all our consumer goods from this company, all American made, all great. and it's actually cheaper than buying at Walmart. So we're not only saving money, we're getting great products, which are also plant-based, and then also a lot of the harmful chemicals that the cheap Chinese crap has in it, we don't have it. And so we've been working now several months of alleviating our home of Chinese stuff, Walmart stuff, and going more natural, growing toxin or harmful toxins from our home, and so forth. We're on the path right now, and I'm trying to help folks get on the path as well. And, contact me, let me know that you're interested. I'll tell you who the company is and everything like that. But because of the rules and regulations of the company, and because of all the word of mouth advertising that they do as an influencer, I cannot tell you right now. So that's just the way it is. But again, use my Patriot Switch link down below and fill it out, and I will get right back hold of you in the next day or two, and we can start talking and start making the changes. Folks, don't be like the little guy and stick to your guns and see your cheese slowly disappear. We need to get a mind change. We need to get a mindset. We need to start changing our attitudes, changing our buying behaviors and everything, and start doing it now, because things are happening rather quickly. And if we don't do it now, adapting and overcoming when it happens is going to be very, very, very difficult. And so, you're going to be running around like a chicken with your head cut off. And I don't plan that happening with my family. And I'm helping others to also not allow them to be running around like chickens with their head cuts off as well. So, a lot to throw at you tonight, a lot of doom and gloom. But again, this is all stuff that's happening, folks. Now, will it happen exactly on the timetable that I said? I don't know. It may not. But I'm reading a lot of the news and everything like that, and it's looking like a lot of things. We're in a perfect storm, and things are going to get really hairy, really dicey here pretty quickly. So, with all that, anybody got any questions? With all the doom and gloom I've been sharing and everything, let me scroll up here. Let's see what we got. So we have Angry Taco. Hey, Angry Taco. We got All American Prepper. Hey, bud. Good to see you. We got Holly again. We survived behind liberal lines. Good to see you there, Joan. We got, again, Angry Taco 22. I already said that name. Preach it. I'm leading forging class this week. Good job, Heather. HG, what state is your class? Angry Taco, Wisconsin. Forge is the way to go. Yeah. The more that you got, I'm always working hard. I've got an app on my phone, and I highly encourage you to get it. It's called Picture This. What you can do is you take a picture of any flower, tree, whatever, and it'll actually give you the identity of what it is, as well as, some of the notes. This plant is edible. It's how we learned that, oh gosh, what was the plant that I ate several weeks ago? Hostas are edible. And so I really encourage you to spend the $20 or however much it is. Picture This. It has really helped with my learning curve here, because this is a new area to me. I'm used to all the flowers and fauna and everything down in Texas and what we had down there. But up here in Virginia, this is all new. So I'm constantly learning and adding more and more to my knowledge base of what we can eat here. And there's a lot of stuff to eat here, a lot more than we had in Texas for sure. So, but yeah, self-talk. Heather says self-talk, got some Samuel Thayer books. Good job, Heather. Angry Taco, add Joe Overgrowing's list of stuff to learn. Just got KP's books. Yeah, thank you there, Angry Taco. I appreciate it. And then All American Prepper, could you have a joining link? Karen Irvin. Hey, Karen, how you doing? Good stuff tonight. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, no problem there, Karen. In fact, Karen, do me a favor, contact Cynthia. She wants to talk to you about what we're doing. And we know she has a lot of medical issues, and she knows your situations and everything. So talk to her. And so, because I saw that you did sign up on my Patriot Switch link. So good job, Kieran. I thank you. Appreciate it. So again, if you guys do use my Patriot Switch link, look for my email and then look for a text and then answer my stinking email or text and let's talk. Don't ghost me. And so I'm working hard. I want to make sure that I'm helping people. We have a limited amount of time. And so am I freaking out? No, I'm not, because I'm ready. We're ready. We're moving our house. we're getting it moving, we're going in the proper direction and everything, and I want to help you do it. If we're able to do it, you're able to do it too. And so it's critical that we get these supply chains in place now and not wait till later. Again, don't wait till you ask about who moved my cheese. And again, get this book. It's a mind changer. And so it'll take you about 45 minutes to read. See how thin it is? See how thin it is? Great book. But you need to read it. We need to start having some mind change right now, because things are going to start shifting rather quickly. And do you want to be behind the 8 ball? Do you want to start being, rolling with all the masses of mobs and everything like that? I know we don't, and we're not, because we're making the changes now. You need to make the changes now. And I'm sorry to preach at you and everything, but I'm very, what is the word? I don't want to say enthusiastic or anything, but I believe in this. And I would rather create allies than enemies, folks. I want more allies. And so that's my drive and my purpose is in talking about all this, is to create allies. The more preppers that we have, the world is a better place. It means less of the mob and the sheeple crowd chaos that I have to deal with. And so I'm all about bringing more people into the prepper fold and creating more preppers and teaching and helping and everything. And that's what Cynthia and I are all about, helping you guys get on the proper path right now while we still have the time. Because you don't want to be waiting till August and then SHTF happens and you go, oh no, where am I going to get my Drano shampoo and mouthwash? And then you're battling the Walmart aisles like they did during the COVID times for stinking toilet paper. And again, it's going to get ugly out there, folks. So jump on this, start doing these things now. If you have any questions, contact me, ray@raymondmoore.com. And then finally, what I really encourage you guys to do, go to my website, raymondmoore.com or thekiltedprepper.com, and sign up for my free newsletter. It's free. I'm sending out news, information. The biggest thing that I'm really sending out right now are buy alerts. Today, I just sent out an some Everready lanterns that popped up on my buy alert. And so I'm really trying to help you guys save money, get some food, get some gear that you're going to need and everything. I'm not going to be sending you cool guy gear or anything. My biggest push is Augustin Farms, because when I send you out an Augustin Farms buy alert, excuse me, then the Augustin Farms only last about 24, maybe 36 hours. And if you don't jump on those, you lose out for about 3 to 4 months. They're not going to put them back on sale again. So jump on my email and get my newsletter and sign up for that so you get those buy alerts. But better yet, for those of you who are on Telegram, and more patriots, more and more homesteaders, and more conservatives are moving to Telegram as a secure means, encrypted means, censoring and pro First Amendment means, Telegram is becoming the app to use. And so that's what I'm using a lot. I have a news group on there. It's called the Kilted Prepper News. Got my little KP symbol there and things. So easy to find, but it's called the Kilted Prepper News. Get on Telegram. And I'm constantly sending out pertinent news and information, as well as buy alerts. And so whenever I find a buy alert, I zap it out there first and then send out an email. So, at times, time is the issue, and you may be able to jump it on faster versus having to check your email and all that. But get on my Telegram group. I'm really keeping everybody informed. I belong to like a bazillion news groups on Telegram, and I'm constantly weeding through a lot of the, BS junk that's out there and really putting out information that is critical, that I think that we need to be on the alert for. Have these things on our radar so that we know how to properly adjust in the waves of the storm. So Tracy Trance now, good to see you. Jones, good to see you. Surviving behind liberal lines. Keep 2 or 3 of the 30-pack and the TP on hand. Yep. I hope the company is not like Amway. Nope, it's not like Amway. Nope, not Pyramid or anything. It's a good store. Net worth marketing is crazy. Network marketing is crazy. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, contact me, Holly. So I'll tell you what it is. But again, and I'm going to use you for an example, Holly, and I hate to do this, but change your mindset. That's all I'm going to say. Just because you hate it and everything doesn't mean that it's bad or anything like that. But we need to start changing our mindset, because we're going to be running out of cheap Chinese junk and all this other imports and everything, especially if the BRICS come together and create their own currency. How many? Get 23 nations that are neutral to us, kind of doesn't like us, and out hates us. That's 23 nations that we are no longer probably going to be doing business with unless we use BRIC currency. And so that's a big chunk. And again, if you've been paying attention, Ross Perot said a bazillion years ago that, all those jobs were being sucked out and everything. We don't manufacture anything anymore. So, we need to start looking at things, changing our mindset, looking at what we can get here in the U.S., what's made here in the U.S., and then we need to start rolling with it. So that's everything I got. We're sitting at 1 hour exactly. Hey, had no problem with TP, paper towels, napkins, plastic cutlery. Yep, that's nothing but here. But the biggest issue is consumer goods surviving behind the liberal lines. It's consumer goods. Everything that you use in your home, from, let's see, toothpaste, mouthwash, baby wipes, ibuprofen, oh gosh, you get that shampoo. I mean, all that stuff. 11 companies basically produce all that. And if it isn't made in China, then it's made in materials with China. And so I've got a wheel, or look at, what is the terminology? The illusion of choice. Type in Google the illusion of choice and look at the graphics. And, pretty much everything that we use consumer good wise is controlled by 11 companies. And so they're out for the profit. And guess where they're going to get it? They're going to get the cheapest stuff they can to make the stuff. And a lot of that stuff's not good for us. A lot of it's hazardous materials and bad chemicals and everything. But, when things get locked down, or currency shift or something, will we be able to adapt and overcome quickly? Will you have your supply chains in store or in gear, and be able to know where you need to get all your stuff? Because otherwise, if you're not able to clean your house or brush your teeth or anything like that, you're gonna have stinky breath and a filthy, dirty house. So enough preaching. But that's everything that we got. And let's see, any other questions for sure. Unfortunately, short on Tylenol and ibuprofen so far. Well, dude, contact me and let me put you in contact with the store that we shop at. So, hey, Lori, how you doing? Good to see you here. You missed a great show, or if you just joined us, I don't know. But yeah, talking about a great online shopping club that we belong to. Lori is, I know Lori too. She shops there as well. So, but anything else? Any other questions you may have or anything like that? Again, contact me if you have any questions you want to ask me privately. I live on Facebook. Friend me on Facebook. You're able to get through me to a private message and everything. I'm always, I live on my phone all the time and everything. So I'm able to help answer any questions, but private message me, email me, ray@raymondmoore.com, and, or just go to my website, raymondmoore.com, and hit the contact page. I got a form there where you can contact me and stuff. But I'm here. Me and Cynthia are here to help, and we want to help, because again, our goal is to have more preppers or more allies than enemies. And again, that's what we're doing here in our local community, is working hard to create more allies, start getting people more self-sufficient, start getting people to create their own supply chains, start creating what's called a MAG group, or mutual assistance group, so that we can barter, trade, help each other, so forth. We're going to have to go back to these days, like, the around the 1800s, when our great-great-grandparents used to do all this stuff. We're having to get back to that. And so that's something that we're doing here at the Moore home. We're very active in doing this, and we're serious about it. And then I'm sick and tired of sending my money to China. They're the enemy. And so I refuse to support the enemy as able as I can. And so I'm trying to limit as much of my income going there. So, do we want a war and everything with China? You're buying cheap Chinese stuff, then that's what you're going to help supply. So, made a great shopping contract. Awesome. So cool, Lori. But good job on everybody. And, again, I'm sorry if this show is kind of doom and gloom and bad news and everything, but I just had to spell it out the way it is and what's coming. and everything. So that's everything, folks. Anything else? Angry Taco, we'll see you. We'll see you, Trance. We'll see you, Angry Taco. We'll see you, Lori. We'll see you, Surviving Behind Liberal Lines. We'll see you, Heather. We'll see you, Holly. We'll see you, Joan. We'll see you, Karen. We'll see you, do shout outs to you and everything. So thank you so much. Do me a favor. If you're new here and it's the first time you've seen the show and everything, like, subscribe, and share, and then ring that little bell so that you get notified whenever we post a new video or go live. And then, if you're part of our community here, it's like some of these folks I do recognize. Thank you so much for coming back and supporting us, being such wonderful people. Stop right now. See that little thumb thing? Give me a thumbs up right now. Click that thumbs up right now. Do it. I only see one thumbs up. Let's see some more thumbs up. Give me some thumbs up. And then if this is a message tonight that was very informative to you and it's critical information you want to get out to others, again, share my video with everybody, post it on your Facebook wall, post it all your social media and everything. Help me with this mission that I've got and help me get the word out, because things are, do you do Twitter? Yes, I do. I am on Twitter. It's Raymond Moore. Everything's on Raymond Moore. All my social media is down below in the description, so check it out. You'll see where it says follow me. I call a whole string of social media, but everything is pretty much Raymond Moore. But yeah, Surviving Behind Liberal Line. I keep wanting to say enemy lines, but liberal lines, kind of the same thing. So, but let's see. Awesome time. Thank you so much, Holly. I really appreciate that. And so, God bless everyone. Maybe see you over at the Pinball Preparedness at 9. Thank you so much. Yep. Pinball is one of my favorite. I watch him every morning. He just lives down south from me and everything. Him and Patera, I watch them all the time. I watch Rudy, the Alaskan Prepper, all the time. I watch, Dave, Southern Prepper 1 all the time. In fact, me and Dave go back a while. We used to speak on, at PrepperCons and stuff when Dave used to do that. But yeah, so yeah, I watch a lot of those. I live on YouTube, probably like a lot of you guys do too. So, but that's everything. I've got to stop now. We are now sitting at 1 hour, 6 minutes. So I've gone over 6 minutes time. We try to keep it to 1 hour, but that's everything. So Raymond Moore, we love you. Goodbye. God bless. And Kilted. Jeez.